What's up, WEBTOON? I'm Mark, and I'm back with a reaction video. Now, I do not like Isekai. I said it, and I meant what I said. But that's fine. You can like any type of genre of anime out there. There's so many different kinds of anime for people to enjoy out there. But Isekai, no matter how many times I've tried to get into an Isekai, it's just not my thing. And I've been waiting for something to come along one day to make me go, oh man, now this is what I've been looking for. I hear Slime could be that. I have not watched Slime. But the last one I watched where I was just like, yeah, this is fine, but it's just not for me, was ReZero. My guy, Giguk, aka Garnt, if you guys aren't fans of trash taste. Let me switch hats real quick. As I was saying, if you guys aren't fans of trash taste, then you should be, because these guys are great. But anyway, we're talking about Garnt, and Garnt is talking about the new king of bad Isekai. I am not going to say, oh, Isekai is bad. I'm not going to do that. But apparently this Isekai is bad, but it's the king of it. So let's see what Garnt is talking about.
Blah blah, Giguk likes Isekai.
I am shocked.
I want you to cast your mind back for a bit. No, wait, too far. It's summer holiday in 8th grade and you've just discovered anime. Mirai Nikki is close to peak. I can't make it clear the most tragic thing you've ever seen. That scene where Kirito gets his second sword and shouts out, Starburst or Streamer! What's the goddamn coolest thing you'd ever seen? Because of course it was. You were 13. Everything was cool. You didn't care about character development. You didn't think about story structure. You heard a quote like, I'm a gamer. Not because I don't have a life, but because... but because I choose to have many. And you thought to yourself, damn, that's deep. I'm a gamer. Were you cringe? Hell yeah you were, but you know what? You enjoyed yourself, and that's what's important. Even if you can look back and think, God, what was I thinking? But what happens when you find a show that stops trying to run away from that cringe and embraces the cringe, distills the cringe, knuckles down and envelops you in the edge-fest, high-intensity, full-blown world of cringe you thought you'd grown past and refuses to apologize about it? I need more power. You get the Eminence and Shadow. Anime has been absolutely killing it lately. 2022 was not only full of surprises, but shows that push the boundary of anime. Modern classics that stamps their mark on the scene and will stick with us for years to come. Eminence and Shadow is not one of those shows. This is every 14-year-old teenage angsty fantasy turned
with black hair.
It's edgy, it's horny. It might well just be the new king of trashy Isekai, and it's by far the most goddamn fun I've had in the genre for years. ReZero, Slime, Mushoku Tensei, all brilliant shows we've gotten in the past few years that absorb you into that intricate world and have shown us how truly great Isekai can be. If these three shows are the 3-star...
So, like I said, I've seen ReZero. Not all of it. I did drop it. I have not seen
Mushoku Tensei.
And I have not seen Slime. I just
brilliant shows.
So maybe those two could possibly win me over. I don't know.
We've gotten in the past few years that absorb you into that intricate world and have shown us how truly great Isekai can be. If these three shows are the 3-star Michelin meals of Isekai, this is Eminence and Shadow.
McDonald's.
And this is me. But how did Eminence and Shadow get me to embrace the cringe? Giguk, do you fantasize about getting hit by a truck? Is this another case of me having Isekai brain rot? No, okay, I haven't forgotten what good anime is. I still remember my best of 2022 anime list. I still remember Chainsaw Man. Speaking of which, Chainsaw Man itself is having a collaboration with today's sponsor.
And I'm going to get that.
I know what you're thinking, but look, it's been one whole year since my last Isekai video on this channel, and the tax has to be paid. White girls have true crime? Giguk has bullshit Isekai, but contrary to popular belief, I don't just blindly recommend every trashy Isekai that airs every season. And before you go, yo, that's cap. This is my face when I'm saying it. Look at this serious face. Do you see how deathly serious I am taking this?
Yeah,
I would never mislead you on something like this. This is a show that won't go down as a classic of anime. It doesn't have a lot in common with the Isekai greats like Mushoku Tensei. Eminence and Shadow is edgy, self-serving. You see what happens in it and it's like... Well, see, Mushoku Tensei is more like... The plot goes like this. Sid Kagano is a man obsessed with... But unfortunately, he gets hit by a truck and dies. Reborn in a fantasy world, he continues his pursuit of power. A secret organization, and so begins the story. The organization
Okay, so he's saying that you know, you heard it before. You heard it once, you heard it before, right? I'm assuming that's what he's saying.
The big issue I've had when trying to talk about this show,
or is he saying this about a lot of
stuff? As soon as I open my mouth to explain anything that happens, I instantly lose anyone listening because everything that comes out of my mouth sounds fucking stupid. Because it is fucking stupid. The main point of this show is that Sid makes up the most dumb, convoluted, fanfiction.net, Tumblr-ass plot developments he can think up on the spot, and it turns out to be true. The man has no investment in the people around him and what's going on. He's just role-playing his perfect Isekai power fantasy story, and everyone in the world is forced to dance to his tune. On one side, he's Shadow, incarnation of vengeance, entity of the night, slayer of pussy. The man fucks without losing his virginity because he never loses. Shadow is a man who based their entire personality over listening to My Chemical Romance once. This is what people who shopped at Hot Topics saw in their mind's eye. Shadow's the type of guy who would say,
"You know why they call it the Dead Sea?
Why?
Because I killed it."
But on the flip side, he's plain old Sid Kageno, a guy devoted to being an invisible background character who won't stand out, won't attract attention, chasing his dream to be the ultimate real-life NPC, which...
Hey guys, I'm in New York City just hanging out.
Honestly, isn't that hard to do nowadays? The thing is, he will refuse to break character no matter what. And I really mean, no matter what. His sister gets kidnapped and tortured. His school is the target of a terrorist attack. There are classmates getting murdered around him left and right. And the first thing that goes through his mind is, alright boys, it's NPC time. How can I give myself the most pathetic death possible? As Shadow, he will literally commit to robbing a grand piano only to transport it to an underground cave so he can ominously play it with the lights beaming down for the ultimate edgelord look. The man is more dedicated to his role than Jake Paul is to playing an asshole. He could give Daniel Day-Lewis a run for his money in his commitment to method acting. Oh, okay, so this is like a parody of Isekai? Kinda. Comedy is subjective. Is a phrase people use when they're about to say they don't find something funny. Eminence has some decent jokes here and there, though it can be hit or miss. Sometimes it'll do this thing where it will spell out this overused trope and pass it off as a joke, which is something I've always despised, but sometimes it can play around with our expectations in amusing ways. We've all watched that scene where the main character accidentally goes in the hot spring, sees the girl, she goes, gets angry, blah blah blah. Alright, here's what happens with Sid. Barges into hot spring. It's the girl's hot spring. Doesn't acknowledge the girl. Flexes his pee-pee. Refuses to elaborate further. Leaves.
Bruh. That man walked in there like he read the script. Yeah, I'm him. Yeah. Just walked out.
This is a show that is not afraid to play around with tropes we're familiar with and subvert our expectations to varying degrees of success. But what I found more impressive, and a hell of a lot more amusing, is how hard it commits to its own bullshit act. It makes fun of itself while doubling down, tripling down, quadrupling the fuck down on all the cheesy, cringe-ass moments we roll our eyes at in your typical trashy power fantasy isekai. Beyond being a straight-up parody, it's just entirely self-aware. You find yourself not taking the show too seriously, then end up being completely invested in all the dumb shit that ends up happening. They say that love and hate are two halves of the same coin, but Eminence and Shadow proves that the exact same thing is true with cringe and cool. Because what happens when you take all those cringe scenes that would only appeal to an edgy 13-year-old, distill it, rev up the stupidity to 100, does it somehow become
what the okay. If it's stuff like this, that is just ridiculous. I don't know what that was.
Does it somehow become cool again? This is what Eminence and Shadow asks, and I think there's one scene that encapsulates everything this show's about. So if you don't want to be spoiled for episode 5, just skip ahead. Sid has always been obsessed with becoming powerful. In his past life, he was already pretty OP. The man dedicated himself to being Batman without all the fancy gadgets. He had trained enough to take down any thug he encountered. But so what? No matter how much a mortal can train, there are still limits to what you can achieve. What if he went up against a firing squad? What if someone dropped a nuclear bomb on you? No matter how much you develop your muscles, hone your mind, perfected your skills, if someone comes along with a nuclear bomb, you'd be instantly vaporized.
Not if you're the MC.
Or so he thought. Because, reincarnated in the new world, he refused to give up on his dream. There was still a height he had yet to attain. So, after years upon years of training, he arrived at but a single solution. That's right. If I don't want to be vaporized by a nuclear explosion, I must simply become the nuke. I
What did he do? Jesus Christ! How does anyone survive that?
What the fuck did I just watch? What is this? Why did he say Atomic and Times New Roman? Why is this so entertaining? This doesn't try to differentiate itself from a typical power fantasy isekai. This fully commits to being the power fantasy isekai, then goes 10 steps further beyond what is necessary. He is stupidly OP. He's never in any real danger. He'll say cringe lines and pass them off as the coolest thing ever said. You think other isekai protagonists specialize in having their own harem? Well, not only does every influential figure happen to be a cute girl who of course ends up falling for him, but he's goddamn built an entire shadow organization with 0 boys allowed. Alpha, Beta, Gamma, Delta, Epsilon, Eta, Zeta, Sigma. The man's created his own harem institute of hundreds, not dozens, hundreds
You
of
should have just called it Giga.
superpowered waifus that end up amassing so much wealth and power that they end up influencing the world stage. And he did this by complete accident. But the best part of all this is having to see everyone in the world take Sid's bullshit role-playing 100% seriously. This is a fully functioning fantasy land with nations vying for power, secret organizations manipulating the global politics. Characters are in a life or death struggle to defend the homeland they so love, and then along comes this dude. Countries pour their resources into figuring out what exactly is Shadow Garden, who's in it, what do they want, what are their goals and motivations, how does their presence affect the world? And meanwhile, Sid's just there like, hee Shadow Man save power. Everyone is playing Game of Thrones while Sid is playing Dungeons and Dragons, except he is every dungeon master's worst nightmare. Someone who just makes shit up as he goes along, breaks every rule of the game, ignores the big shiny thing that is shouting, this is the plot, but is incapable of rolling anything but nat 20. And so everything he ends up doing has real consequences to the world around him. A lot of people have compared this to Overlord, but I think this is actually closer to Isekai One Punch Man, and I'm gonna be honest, part of the reason I'm making this video is because I'm praying that this doesn't stop at just 2 seasons. Yeah, I'm excited to get more of the Isekai greats, but for the love of God, give me 5 more double Big Mac meals of this, please. Eminence in Shadow is a series that should not work, but somehow it does. This is what happens when every single person working on an anime absolutely understands the assignment. It's a series which gives absolutely 0 fucks in being cringy, edgy, or childish. Sid is a man who laughed so hard it became reality, but the more you watch, the more you get sold in as bullshit. It throws at you every trope, every cliche, every eye-rolling corny line you've ever heard in your life, and you end up eating that shit up like it's the first time you've ever seen an anime. This is what happens when you reach the peak of trashy, entertaining isekai, and I don't know what more it can do to reach even greater heights.
I don't want to be the last boss. I want to be the one in the story who operates from the shadows. The Eminence in Shadow.
Okay, now it's perfect. Hey guys. Okay,
First of all, this man was in the air. This man was in the air for about 35 seconds and never lost altitude.
I want to be the one in the story who operates from the shadows. The Eminence in Shadow.
Okay, now it's perfect.
Alright, so that was my guy Garnt, aka Giguk, explaining to me about Eminence and Shadow. As someone who is kind of an avid non-isekai fan, should I give this a try? I feel like it still wouldn't work for me, all of the cringe and the corny and the tropes and all that stuff. I feel like it still wouldn't work for me, specifically because I haven't watched a lot of isekai. I feel like this works for someone who's seen a lot of isekai and they can call out different tropes and like the things that they're making fun of more often, while me, I'll probably just be like, this is dumb. Which it is, apparently. But I might not get it the way someone who's a huge isekai fan would, but I don't know. You guys let me know what's your experience with Eminence and Shadow, and let me know if you think a non-isekai fan could enjoy it. If you want to see any more reactions, click here, click there, subscribe, and we'll see you guys in the next video.